Hi there, welcome to this lecture series on matrix algebra. This is lecture 18. The topic is determinant. This is the first lecture on this topic, and this is part 2 of the lecture. In part 1, we covered basic properties of a determinant, and using those properties, we have an algorithm of how to compute a determinant. And now we will cover more properties and learn more about this magic number we called a determinant. Let's get started. So property number 5 on determinant. A matrix A is invertible if and only if the determinant of A is not 0. So pay attention to the word if and only if. This means the two statements are equivalent. A matrix is invertible would imply the determinant is not 0, and the determinant is not 0 would imply that the matrix is invertible. Now let's take a look at some motivation or kind of an intuitive argument to support this property. So we are familiar with the algorithm of computing the inverse of A. By this process, we'll have A and an identity matrix. We put them side by side, and then we will carry out the 3 basic row operations and in carefully designed order. Then in finite steps, we will reach a configuration like this. We'll have the identity matrix on the left half, and the right half will be the inverse of A. Okay, so this is closely related to elementary row operations. We can carry out a finite sequence of elementary row operations, and we can reach the matrix B, and the B will be the inverse of A. Now let's consider 2 cases. Case 1 would be I reached a B matrix, which is upper triangular, and all the diagonal elements are not 0. So this is an upper triangular under the diagonal. Here is all 0 element. In that case, then we would know that the A matrix is invertible because you can compute an inverse. And then second, if I look at the B matrix and I see that the determinant of B is not 0 because none of these are 0, and the product of them is the determinant. And then the third is that the determinant of A, we know that it's related to determinant B times some constant, depending on the row operations you did. And this constant is non-zero. Let's call it kappa. And if determinant B is not 0, then so is kappa times that non-zero number. And so determinant of A is also non-zero. And case 2 will be the case where it doesn't fit into case 1. That is, you will have the last row at least to be all 0. In particular, this diagonal element would be 0. Okay, and then in the process, we know that if we reach this state, then we cannot find an inverse for A. So A will be not invertible. And then also in this case, we see that the determinant of B will be the product of the diagonal, which includes at least 1 0. So it's 0. And then consequentially, the determinant of A, which is kappa times that quantity, which is 0, will be 0. So property number 6 for the determinants regards the transpose matrix. The determinant of the transpose matrix of a m by n square matrix does not change under transposition. So determinant of A equals determinant of A transpose. We can take the example of a 2 by 2 matrix where we can write out explicitly. So determinant of a matrix 2 by 2 is the product of this diagonal minus that diagonal. So it's AD minus BC. And then if I transpose this one, then I will be flipping the position of these two. So I'll get this matrix. And the determinant of this one is again AD minus BC. Next is the determinant of a product of matrices. So if you have two matrices, A and B, they're square matrix, then the determinant of their product, determinant of A times B, equal to the product of the determinant. So it's determinant A times determinant B. Again, we can take an example of 2 by 2 matrices, since we can write out the determinant explicitly there. So let's say A is this matrix, and B is another matrix with different entries. Let's mark them as A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. Then I can compute the product C, which is A times B, and you carry out the product, and that will be the matrix C. So for example, this entrance will be this column dot product that this row dot product that column, and so on. Now let's compute the right hand side of this equation, determinant of A times the determinant of B. So determinant of A is AD minus BC, which is here, and for B will be A prime D prime minus B prime C prime. And then you can open up this product and write it into 4 terms. And now we want to compute the determinant of A times B, which is, we call it C here, so the left hand side. And then that's this matrix. So it would equal to this times that, which is this times that, minus this times that, which is this times that. And one can open this up, you get 4 terms, open this up, you get 4 terms, and some terms will cancel, and in the end you will have 4 terms left. And if you compare it carefully to the previous answer here, determinant A times determinant B, term by term, you will see that they are the same. Property number 8 regards the inverse of a matrix. If A is invertible, then the determinant of A inverse is the reciprocal of determinant of A, or inverse of the determinant of A. Indeed, we can give an argument for this property. So determinant of the identity matrix, which is this matrix with all ones on the diagonal, will be the product of all ones, which is 1. So for any identity matrix, the determinant is 1. And now if A is invertible, and let's say A inverse is the inverse of A, then we can use the product rule, the previous one. That is, determinant of A times determinant of A inverse is determinant of A times A inverse. And then this gives us the identity matrix, and it's 1. So then we have this identity, and which is the same as this property here. Property 9 is about a scalar multiple. If you have an n by n matrix, and you multiply the A matrix by a scalar number, let's call it little c, then the determinant of CA would be c to the power n times determinant of A. So writing out the elements for the general form, that's the A matrix with the Aij as the entries, and then C times A would be multiplying everything here, all of the entries, by the constant C. So we see that the C matrix can actually be obtained from the A matrix by elementary row operations. We see that we can go through each row. For the first row, we multiply it by C, and then we multiply the second row by C, and we go on and we multiply the nth row by C. And then each of this step will multiply the determinant by a factor of c. And you are doing it n times, and therefore you get a c to the power n multiply determinant of A. So far, we presented all these properties in terms of operations on the rows of the A matrix. What about operations on the columns, you might ask? Well, that can be easily handled by making the observation that the operations on the columns of A corresponds to the operations on the rows of the transpose matrix A transpose. Then also recall the property that determinant of A equals the determinant of A transpose. Then we can translate all these properties that we have discussed and state them for operations on the columns. Okay, so for D1 now, we can see that if a matrix is lower triangular, then the determinant is also the product of all the diagonal entries. So you can say determinant of this one, which is lower triangular, will be the same as the determinant of the transpose of this one, which is now upper triangular, and it's just the product of the diagonal elements. And then second, if a column of A is multiplied by a constant C, then the determinant is also multiplied by C. Okay? We can switch the row into a column. And third one, if a multiple of a column is added to another column of A, then the determinant does not change. And finally, if you switch two columns of A, then the determinant changes sign. So all these are now become obvious once we realize that we can consider all the properties of A transpose, and coming back to A, then it's becoming the properties for operations on columns. So we have learned already that this special matrix we called an orthogonal matrix. So we recall the definition. A is orthogonal if A transpose equals A inverse. So what about the determinant of such a matrix? Okay, so we can use all these properties that we have learned already. Let's first use the property that determinant of A times A transpose. And then here, A times A transpose, because A transpose is A inverse, therefore it's A times A inverse, so it's determinant of identity, which is 1. And then at the same time, we observe that determinant of A times A transpose is the same as taking determinant of each and then multiply. So determinant of A times determinant of A transpose. And then we also see that determinant of A transpose is just determinant of A. So we get determinant A times determinant A. And then we see that from the previous line that needs to be 1. Hence, from this identity, we deduce that determinant of A will be plus minus square root of 1, which is plus minus 1. Okay, we can take a quick example, and some of the examples we came across in our study of orthogonal matrix. This one is an orthogonal matrix, and we can compute the determinant, which will be this times that is half, minus this times that is negative half, and they add up to be 1. And then here is another one, and then this times this becomes negative 1/4, minus this times this becomes 3/4, and you get negative 1. Okay, so these two examples shows that for 2 by 2 orthogonal matrices, the determinant can be 1 and also can be negative 1. So that's the end for this lecture. And in the next one, we will continue our study on determinants. And in particular, we're looking at many properties that have geometric meanings. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed today's lecture, and I'll see you next time.